All right, so I'm out here under the hood of my 2003 Ford Explorer, and it is the 4.0, and we're going to have to replace the belt because I got that chirping noise that just drives everybody crazy. So the only thing you need tool-wise is a 3/8 drive ratchet. Okay, so it's going to be hard to see down there, but you see where I have the ratchet put in on the bottom of the tensioner. Don't try and take the nut off right there. That is not what you need to do. Just take that 3/8 ratchet and you're going to hit the tensioner counterclockwise and it'll move. I don't know if you can see it, but then you'll start taking the belt off. I don't think you'll be able to see me do this, but the other thing is to remember that your sticker right here shows you how the belt goes on. This one's mine over here. Okay, do yourself a favor, and I'm doing it right now. Don't try and go 1/2 inch. It's a 3/8 drive, and quite honestly, it is a snug fit in there. You're not going to be able to use a 1/2 inch breaker bar with an adapter on it. It's too long, so I'm just going back over to the auto parts store and getting a super long 3/8 drive ratchet, because I could use a bar over my smaller one, but I don't have one. So be right back. Back in to get my 3/4 inch extra long ratchet. All right tool for the right job. There's our belt, there's our gloves, there's our 3/8, there's our super big gulp Coke Zero. Hopefully you can see this now. We got it actually in there, and you can see how you pull the tensioner that way and it loosens the belt up. So going to be really impossible probably for me to videotape this while I do it. Let's see what I can do here. All right, not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but we're going to give it a shot here anyway. Pull up on the ratchet, loosens. There we go, belt's off. And we're gonna get our ratchet out of there. What we're gonna do, we're gonna do it like this. There we go. We just gotta make it fall through. Watch out for that, there we go. And then we let the tensioner back up. I will tell you, I tried. You cannot push down on this tensioner with your hand to loosen it, but once you get it pushed down, you can hold it there definitely. So let's get our belt. Let's see if we can squeeze it out. There we go. You just got to get it off that bottom pulley. There we go. And it's out. There we go. So now we're just going to match that up with our other belt to make sure they're the same length. Hold on here a second. Just remember, and I'm sure you know this already, but the ridges go to the inside around the pulley and the printing goes on the outside so you can see it. Again, we're just going to use the diagram. Very easy to follow. Hopefully you could see that. All right, so just a little lesson on feeding this. Do it like this. This will make it easy. Put it in the loop down here like this. Hold it tight together and go to the left of the fan pulley, or what would be the fan pulley. Yeah. Go to the left of that, send it all the way down, and then you can start running it around the pulleys. Okay, that's the easiest way I found to do it. Okay, I'm all about working smarter, not harder, but the smarter way on this was to take, let me show you. This piece literally just pops off. No, there's no clips or anything you're going to break. And then we're going to take the top half of the fan shroud out, which is 2 bolts, one on the right, one on the left. By the way, these bolts are 10 millimeter, just so you know. So 2 bolts will take this thing off. And the passenger side bolt, you will need an extension because it goes right under the big radiator hose, obviously. Once you get it loose, though, it comes off finger loose. All right, so don't make the mistake of thinking you got to take the fan off to do this. You don't. Okay, I had to noodle it through for about 15 minutes. I'm sorry, I think left-handed. But take your fan belt and push it down to the left here and get it over around the big pulley underneath. Then you're going to feed it over and feed it around just like your diagram shows. Get it all the way over here to where the tensioner is, and that's when you're going to put it on and tension it. So let's do that real quick. You have to make sure nowhere in this chain, if you will, of belt is it twisted anywhere. Just remember that, or you're going to shred it as soon as you start it. See, I had it twisted on the bottom. So now I've got it over the big pulley. Let me get my gloves back on here, but I'm ready to go. I've got it over every pulley except the tensioner, which is right here. which is what I need my big 3/8 drive ratchet for. And hopefully I'll do this without knocking the camera over. You guys don't even want to know the setup I've got here in order to do this. So let's see here. It does make it a lot easier with the top shroud out, that's for sure. So don't do that mistake. You got to get your ratchet inside of your belt. Remember that, inside. Okay. And we're going to crank back on it to loosen it. Hopefully this is going to do the trick here. We got to get it down. It is not doing the trick. Hold on a second here. Let's make sure we got it everywhere we need it to be. We need to pull all of the tension that we can get on the actual belt. Or let's try something different here. Let's do it like this. Let's put the belt on the tensioner. Make sure we got it all the way everywhere. We don't. Let me get my hand back down in there and straighten this up. By the way, forget everything I said about there being an electric fan. This is not an electric fan model. So don't come at me with that stuff. I can make mistakes too. Let's see here. By the way, don't give me a bunch of guff. I'm doing this with a partially torn rotator cuff, so. All right, so now we've got it set. It looks like I've got it exactly the way. I'm just looking back at the map to make sure I got it right here. Over, up, and over. Okay, so it's got to go above the alternator here, which that's not going to help it either. So how is that going to help? Give me, I am literally a ½ an inch off on this. So what's tying me up here? Let's see. Let me go back and noodle through this for a second. I'll be back in a minute. All right, listen, I got this done, and don't anybody come at me because I'm making all the mistakes on this, so you don't have to. But I got it fed through, and again, I'm going to show you using the diagram. Don't be afraid to crank on this tensioner. You got to really put down on it to get enough slack in that belt to make sure that it gets over. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just looking to make sure that I've got everything on there going the right direction. I'm going to loosen it up again for a second just so I can make sure this belt is back on the on that fan pulley. There we go. I'm sure it'll straighten itself out, but I don't want to shred a $40 belt to find out. So just remember, crank on that belt tensioner as hard as you want. I don't think you're going to break it, and if you do, you needed to replace it anyway. But my belt's on. We'll take a look at it here and I'll show you how it went around, and then we'll put the fan shroud back on and start it up and see if it still whines. If it still whines, I got a bearing in one of these things, and that's a whole nother issue. So I ran into a few snags getting that belt changed, and I'm gonna have a video coming out too because I also changed, changed out the automatic tensioner as well. So you got a separate video on that one coming out here shortly. But all in all, it should have been a 20-minute job because the tensioner needed to be changed and a couple other tiny little things. A couple of my mistakes that I learned through there, so you don't have to. But if you enjoyed it, if you could give it a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. Subscribe, and I'll have the tensioner, replacing the belt tensioner video coming out in a couple days.